Veteran forced to sell home after displaying American flag on his porch. Larry takes a sip from his tea and lets out a sigh. Standing in his front garden, he was currently looking at the for sale sign outside his home where he'd spent the past 30 years. His home had been filled with so much laughter and tears. He takes a look at his front garden where his daughter took her first steps. He looks up at the roof where he spent every year hanging the Christmas lights. But these were all just memories now. He couldn't believe it. How did it get to this? For war veteran Larry Murphree, he was extremely proud of his country. He had served 6 years as an Air Force air traffic controller during the Vietnam War, and although it was an exceptional experience, Larry wouldn't have changed things. He was both a passionate and understanding older man. But then one day he did something so simple that he never thought would cause such an uproar. One warm summer day, Larry felt a touch of nostalgia as he started thinking about his country. So he decided to put a small American flag on his front porch in a flower pot. Although this was a nod and salute to the United States of America, it also meant a lot to him. It was a small flag, but it stood for a big thank you. Unfortunately for Larry, others would disagree with this kind-hearted gesture. Not everyone in Larry's town was delighted with what he did. Around a couple days later, he received a letter. As he ripped it open, his mouth dropped as he read the contents inside the letter. It was from the Homeowners Association at the Tides Condominium, Sweetwater, and they were requesting him to take away the flag from the flower. Larry couldn't believe it. Why would they do this? According to the letter violation, it stated that the American flag was an unauthorized object. It also demanded that Larry should remove it from where it was. Larry felt anger boil inside him as he read the letter. "Why me?" Larry muttered to himself. But Larry knew he would never back down. He wouldn't let them win. A few days passed and the flag was still in the plant pot. As Larry sat on the front porch reading the morning paper and his letters, he opens the letter and his mouth drops. It turned out that Larry was fined $100 for every day as long as the flag was in the plant pot. It was only until Larry paid $1,000 in fines that he knew he had to get a lawyer involved. The lawyer, Gus Saris, was equally surprised at this case. But Gus was adamant he would help Larry out. And so, a few weeks later, Gus filed a suit in federal court, and the two parties ultimately reached an agreement, which was that Larry can keep the flag in the flower pot. But little did Larry know, in a few months he'd be back to where he started. A few months passed and the Homeowners Association amended their flag ordinance to a flower pot ordinance. This meant that Larry could fly his flag on a pole and not in a plant pot. But then Larry noticed they kept recategorizing it and started doing the same thing again. Same flag, same flower, the dirt, and the same plant. When would all this end? Surely this couldn't go on forever. Larry thought to himself one day. Unfortunately for Larry, it was far from over. Larry's legal war went on for 7 years. Throughout these 7 years, the Homeowners Association started plaguing the veteran himself and started to fine him for several infractions, such as having a snowflake Christmas window decoration up after Christmas, not parking in his driveway straight enough, and for putting up a solar light at Christmas. But the battle doesn't end here. To add more heat to the fire, Larry found out that the Homeowners Association had been making use of his fees to pay off fines that he had incurred instead of using it for the original purpose. They also placed a charge on the veteran's property, claiming that he had not been paid or been paying his mandatory fees. This stress, financial difficulties, and turbulent past few years left Larry with no other option. Larry unfortunately had to sell his home of 30 years, but he didn't sell it at a fantastic price either. It was at a tremendous loss, but Larry knew he had to get out of there. As of now, Larry's made his new house a home, but he'll never forget the stress the Homeowners Association inflicted on him. He's adamant that their laws need to be tackled, and he won't rest until they are. Wow, what a heartbreaking story. It's a shame that Larry, who believed that expressing pride for your country is one of the simplest things that can be done, had to end up selling his family home. It's inspiring to see a man like Larry stand up for himself against corporate big business, and we're both positive and hoping that the rules will soon be changed. And if not, we're even more positive that Larry will be there, ready to stand up for those just like him.